Yesterday, I tweeted out to Delta Airlines just a tip of the hat to their CEO for saying, finally, that the Georgia voter suppression law was based on a lie. His phrase, not mine, his phrase. The CEO of Delta, which is based, of course, in Atlanta, 33,000 employees in the state. But it appears that there's more to this law than even the shocking stuff that's been hitting the top of the headlines. And our good buddy and one of the best investigative journalists in the world, Greg Palast, is on the line with us. He's the author of How Trump Stole 2020, among many other great books. You can learn all about it at gregpalast.com. You can tweet him at Greg_Palast. Greg, tell us about this. What are the hidden horrors in the Georgia vote law that you wrote about today over at truthout.org?
Well, I want to say that the good news, Tom, is that Brian Kemp has finally admitted we don't want black voters on the voter rolls. It's stunning. Actually, it's an April Fool. Okay, well, let's get on to it. Here's what's really going on.
I was going to say, what?
Sorry about that. I had to. I'm sorry.
Somebody had to do it, right? Okay.
No, they admit nothing. So here's what's going on. In the 95-page SB 202, the Georgia anti-voter law, they put in two codicils which have really not been noticed. And I'm not talking about the story we talked about where I broke about how, you go to jail for handing someone a slice of pizza. This is more important. Donald Trump asked the Secretary of State to find him 11,000 votes so he'd be president. Well, here's the deal. The Georgia legislature, the MAGA mob, has found 364,000 voters to remove in the next election. How are they doing this? In the bill, in this 95 pages, is a little provision that allows any voter in the state to challenge any other voter in the state and their right to vote in unlimited numbers. Now, what does that mean? There is and it's a real serious business because there's an organization out of Texas, a Tea Party spinoff called True the Vote, which during the Georgia U.S. Senate runoffs, are you ready for this? Challenged 364,541 voters. Let me repeat that. 1/3 of voters, and said that they should not be allowed to cast their ballots. Now, as you know, that would have changed the Senate and the presidency. 364,000 voters. Now, they said these were illegal voters, but you know what? Under Georgia law, before the election, you were allowed to challenge any voter where you had personal knowledge, like, oh, that guy's moved to Detroit. He shouldn't be voting here. They didn't have any information. They used a bunch of local shills to file this phony attack on 1/3 voters. Local elections boards, Republican, Democrat, it didn't matter. They all threw it out. They said, this is a joke. You don't know these people. You don't know 1/3 people. But the legislature decided this is a pretty nice trick. So they've now authorized True the Vote to file challenges again against more than 1/3 people, and to get over the objections of both Republican and Democratic county boards, which think that this is like nuts and a violation of federal law. They have said that the state board of elections, the brand new state board of elections, can replace and remove or overturn the decisions of the local boards. And who is this new state board? Under the new rules, it will be a choice. It'll be a representative of Brian Kemp, the guy that shoplifted the election from Stacey Abrams, and representatives of the two houses of the Georgia legislature, both controlled by MAGA maniacs. So in other words, you will have the Trumpsters completely in charge, and they are taking the position that they can overrule these local boards and remove these people. And to add kind of a cherry on top of this satanic pudding, Brad Raffensperger, who is the Republican Secretary of State of Georgia, has literally invited True the Vote to challenge these voters. He's literally invited them, knowing, and he's even said, it was blank. In fact, the True the Vote, if you go to my Truth Out article today, which just went up, go to Truth Out, you'll see a quote from Brad Raffensperger put out by True the Vote, who says, look, I have to follow federal law. I can't just remove voters. But True the Vote doesn't have to follow federal law. So if they challenge voters and I accept their challenges, hey, we don't, that's one way around federal law. So he's literally inviting a group to help him break the law. 364,000 voters.
So let me get this straight, Greg, because the first thought that went through my mind is, okay, True the Vote challenges 300,000 voters, and Georgia says, okay, fine, you're challenged, so you can't vote or you get provisional ballots. I didn't hear you say that, though.
No, they said you're not going to get a provisional ballot. You get challenged. They have something called a challenge ballot. Now, if it's before the election, the counties are supposed to send you a notice, some postcard that says you have to show up for like a court-like hearing. Can you imagine how many people like Barbara Arnwine, probably the best voting rights lawyer in America, who's head of Transformative Justice Coalition? She's in a federal suit against the state with me and Black Voters Matter. She said, who's going to show up to take a day off work to go to a hearing to prove that they are who they are? This is nuts. Plus,
right.
Under the new law, you can actually challenge people after they've mailed in their mail-in ballot. It's completely mad, but this is the way that they said they can get around Georgia law. Sorry.
What's to prevent you and me from creating a Truer the Vote organization and challenge 400,000 white suburban voters in Georgia?
Well, the problem is it's called the state board, the brand new MAGA State Board of Elections, which is just created under the new law, which says that the ultimate arbitrator will be 5 Republicans, pro-Trump Republicans, under the new law. They get the final say. So if you said, oh, let's get rid of the white guys, forget it. But if you say, let's get rid of the black voters, and as you know, we've discussed this many times, they wiped out 198,000 voters before the last election due to actions of Black Voters Matter. I'm talking and Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, which is the big Hispanic group. They called 40,000 people. They sent out 80,000 postcards. They got people re-registered, and that's why you have a different Senate and a different president.
Amazing.
The voters chose,
absolutely amazing.
Not the purgers.
Good morning, dear.
Oh, cut!
We have a lot to celebrate this week.
You have the right to remain tripping your balls.
It's like Illuminati, but with leather.
First day at Fight Club, you must fight!
2020 refuses to concede.
I was going to have to return 2021 because I didn't like the 7-day trial. But I'm in now. We're in, sexy liberals.